Good morning. I'm Pauline Verzosa. It is Monday, the 21st of July, and we're bringing you Morning Matters because your mornings matter. Let's get to the stories that matter today. 5 fatalities have been recorded due to the combined impact of Tropical Storm Krising and the southwest monsoon. The weather disturbances have impacted over 370,000 people in several regions. President Bongbong Marcos voiced alarm about the escalating danger of online gambling, cautioning that it is destroying Filipino families. Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin, on the other hand, said a total ban on all forms of online gambling is still under government review. And the highly anticipated return of Manny Pacquiao to the boxing ring culminated in a majority draw with Mario Barrios for the WBC welterweight title in Las Vegas. Welcome to our program, Morning Matters, where we talk about the issues you need to know for the rest of your day. Now, first on the agenda, Pag-asa is monitoring a new low-pressure area within the Philippine territory. The LPA was last spotted some 1,140 kilometers east of southern Luzon. Its chance of developing into a tropical depression remains slim as of the moment. For now, the southwest monsoon or habagat continues to trigger rains. Heavy rains are expected over Zambales, Bataan, and Occidental Mindoro. Occasional or scattered rains are also expected over Luzon, including Metro Manila, as well as across Visayas and northern Mindanao. The rest of Mindanao may experience isolated rains and thunderstorms. Well, the combined effects of Tropical Storm Krising and the southwest monsoon have left 5 people dead and affected more than 370,000 residents across several regions. Here's the report.
The National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council, or NDRRMC, reported that 3 individuals died and 3 others were injured due to the combined effects of severe Tropical Storm Krising and the southwest monsoon. Meanwhile, 3 people remain missing. The NDRRMC noted that casualty figures are still undergoing validation. As of Sunday, over 370,000 individuals have been affected across several regions, with 48,382 people evacuated. The NDRRMC also reported 410 damaged homes, 344 partially damaged, and 66 totally destroyed. Infrastructure losses are estimated at 11.5 million pesos. In Cagayan, heavy rains caused flooding in multiple areas, including the town of Santa Teresita. According to the Santa Teresita LGU, 3 rivers in the town overflowed: the Pacac, Dungego-Lasing, and Mission Rivers. In Bugay Town, 10 out of its 30 barangays were also flooded. The Bugay LGU ordered a forced harvest of fish from local fish cages, particularly malaga or rabbit fish, after an influx of fresh water into the river system disrupted salinity levels in the fish farms. The Bugay LGU has since appealed to the national government for help in dredging the local river, which they say contributes to flooding in the area.
Dami ng fresh water na bumaba dito sa ilog natin. Totally naging fresh yung ilog natin, mamamatay na. Nagsisimatayan na itong mga alaga natin. So force harvest, hanguin mo habang buhay para mabenta natin.
According to the Provincial Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Office, more than 2,000 farmers and fishermen in Cagayan were affected. The total estimated agricultural damage now stands at 17.6 million pesos.
Meanwhile, 3 towns in Batangas are now studying the possibility of declaring a state of calamity due to the combined impact of Tropical Storm Krising and fears over the missing sabongeros. Here's the report.
The fish being sold along Barangay Sampaloc in Talisay, Batangas are now literally just being swarmed by flies. Due to the scare over the missing cockfighting enthusiast, hardly anyone wants to eat fish caught from Taal Lake. But beyond the losses, the bigger issue is the deepening fear among small-time vendors. Many of them are now trapped in debt or resorting to informal lending known as 5-6.
Mas lalo pong magigipit ang pagtitinda. Kung kukuha ka pa ng 5-6, dagdag pang iisipin mo. Paano kung walang benta, wala kang maihulog sa 5-6?
People like China are the reason why the local government of Talisay is considering declaring a state of calamity. On top of that, the fishers and vendors are still reeling from the Taal volcano eruption and tropical storm Krising. Even tourists were reportedly scared off when the search for the missing sabongeros began in Talisay.
Maliit lang ang bayan ng Talisay. Kung noong mga panahong iyon, isasabihin dito, dinadala, ay kakalat at kakalat yan dito.
In Agoncillo, also in Batangas, around 300 fishermen are affected by the missing sabongero issue and the series of storms. The local government there is also studying the possibility of declaring a state of calamity.
Umpisa pa nung Karina, marami na kaming naging damage. Tapos Christine, sobrang laki. Kaya parang yung hindi naayos ay ganun lang. Parang sabi ko nga kanina, parang it's a vicious cycle na aayusin namin, babagyo, eto na naman.
Over the weekend, the diving team resumed its search, this time using an underwater drone to scour a 300-meter by 300-meter area. Updates on any new findings are expected soon.
And now let's get the latest from Pag-asa weather forecaster Ana Clauren. Good morning, Ana. Umalis na nga ng Philippine Air Responsibility itong si Tropical Storm Krising. But what is our weather outlook for today? Tuloy-tuloy pa rin ba ang pagulan?
Yes po, ngayong araw po dahil sa habagat ay tuloy-tuloy pa rin yung mga pagulan na inaasahan natin. May mga bugso-bugso pa rin na mga pagulan o medyo may kalakasan pa rin yung mga pagulan na inaasahan natin sa may Zambales, Bataan at Occidental Mindoro. At ganun din po dito sa Metro Manila, Ilocos Region, Benguet, Tarlac, Pampanga, Bulacan, Cavite, Laguna, Batangas, Rizal at Oriental Mindoro ay may mga occasional rains pa rin po tayong inaasahan maghapon. And then the rest of Luzon and then Visayas, pati na rin po itong Zamboanga Peninsula at Northern Mindanao. Cloudy pa rin po ang panahon dyan maghapon. May mga kalat-kalat na mga pag-ulan pa rin na inaasahan, dala ng habagat. But the rest of Mindanao po, generally ay improving weather condition, inaasahan po natin ngayong araw.
Pero Ana, how long should we expect itong southwest monsoon or yung habagat nga to persist dito sa bansa?
Yes po, halos whole week po natin inaasahan na magpe-prevail po itong habagat sa ating bansa na kung saan nga meron tayong minomonitor na low pressure area ngayon na sa may silangang bahagi po ng Southern Luzon at malayo naman po ito at wala pong direct effect in any parts of our country pero yun nga po, inaasahan natin na itong LPA na to ang magpapairal o yung patuloy na magpapairal ng habagat po sa buong bahagi na ating kapuluan. So halos whole week ay maulan na panahon pa rin po yung ating inaasahan.
Ana, paki-explain lang din because initially yung direksyon ni Tropical Storm Krising was west-northwestward. Pero matindi yung pag-ulan na naranasan pati na rin sa Visayas at Mindanao. Can you explain paano nga ba nag-i-interact yung southwest monsoon doon sa mga tropical storm katulad ni Krising?
Yes po, kapag may bagyo po kasi tayo, so located nga po ito din sa may sa eastern section po na ating bansa, no. So yung habagat naman ay galing po sa may o yung habagat po ay yun po yung hangin na galing sa timog kanluran. So southwesterly po yung hangin niya na kung saan kapag meron po tayong isang bagyo or isang sirkulasyon na minomonitor, lahat po ng hangin ay papunta po sa kanya. So yung hangin na yung characteristic po ng southwest monsoon o habagat ay moist air po or moist yung hangin na dala po nito, warm and moist air na kung saan ay kapag ganyan po yung hangin na nakakarating sa ating bansa ay mataas po yung tsansa na magdulot po ito ng mga pag-ulan. So kapag yung bagyo po natin ay nasa tulad ng Krising, nasa tropical storm category. So nakakahatak po ito ng habagat. So na-enhance niya po yung mga pag-ulan na dala po nito at ang naapektuhan nga ay yung kanlurang bahagi na ating bansa.
And Ana, itong LPA na minomonitor ngayon ng Pag-asa na nakikitang tatama sa Southern Luzon, may chance bang maging tropical storm din ito?
Opo, di po natin siya inaasahan na tatama po sa may Southern Luzon, pero yung location niya po ngayon ay western section ng Southern Luzon, nasa around 1,140 km east po ng southeastern Luzon. So habang kikilos po ito pa west-northwestward pero malayo pa rin po sa ating bansa. So sa ngayon, di po natin naasahan na magkakaroon po ito ng epekto po sa anumang bahagi ng ating kapuluan, pero yung habagat po yung ating monitor. At we're not ruling out yung possibility na sa middle or halos or Wednesday, Thursday, posible po itong kumbaga ay mas tataas po yung chance nito na maging isang bagyo. That's why we advise the public to continue monitoring po for the updates po regarding this LPA.
All right, maraming salamat para sa update na yan. That was Pag-asa weather forecaster, Ana Cloren. When we return, let's discuss further the extent of damages brought by the combined effects of Tropical Storm Krising and the southwest monsoon. Don't go away. We will be back with more stories after the break. Welcome back. You're still watching Morning Matters here on One News. Now, severe tropical storm Krising and the enhanced southwest monsoon left 5 people dead and 5 others injured, according to the NDRRMC. As of Sunday, over 370,000 individuals have been affected across several regions and more than 48,000 have been evacuated. Infrastructure losses are estimated at 11.5 million pesos. The NDRRMC noted that casualty figures are still undergoing validation. And now for the latest on the impact of severe tropical storm Krising and the enhanced southwest monsoon, we are now joined by OCD Deputy Spokesperson Diego Mariano. Good morning, Diego, and thanks for joining us here on Morning Matters.
Yes, good morning and good morning to our all viewers.
All right, Diego, will give us the latest tally. How many individuals and families have been affected and were displaced by Krising?
As of latest report that we have today, there are more than 800,000 persons or individuals that has been affected, and that is equals to, or that is equivalent to 225,000 families. With that number, 20,000 individuals, or equivalent to 5,900 plus families, are inside our evacuation centers.
Well, Diego, you did mention 800,000 individuals affected. That's quite a large number. What's the situation like in evacuation centers?
Okay, for our all evacuation centers, all assistance are provided by our LGUs, and it is augmented by DSWD and Office of Civil Defense. So all the needs of our evacuees are all provided for by the LGUs and other and other national government agencies.
But is there assistance available also for families and persons who are not in evacuation centers but were still affected by the storm?
Yes, all assistance are provided to those who needed it. So even those who are staying to their to their relatives, or also to those who are staying in their friends, all assistance are also being provided for. But of course, those who are inside evacuation centers are those who will be given the assistance primarily because the location is easily can be accessed.
And Diego, what is the current estimate on the damage on infrastructure and agriculture following the onslaught of Tropical Storm Christine?
For the damage to infrastructure, we have reported around more than 219 million worth of damage to the infrastructure. That is in Region 1 and Region 6, and some of them are flood control infrastructure. Then for our agriculture, we have Department of Agriculture have reported around 53 million worth of damage, and that is composed of rice, high value crops, and livestock.
What really surprised a lot of people, because the direction of Christine was west-northwestward, but it also hit other regions in Visayas and Mindanao. Are there any particular areas, Diego, where damage has been more severe or even unexpected?
Mhm. Because the weather disturbance or the weather system that we have experienced is not only the typhoon, I mean the tropical cyclone Krising, but we have also experienced the southwest monsoon or hanging habagat. This southwest monsoon was enhanced and was being pulled by tropical cyclone Krising. So other parts other than the northern Luzon was also affected, which includes parts of Visayas and parts of Mindanao, wherein in Visayas, the most heavily affected was the Region 6 and the Negros Island region, because most of the parts of southwest monsoon is also in that area.
What about contingency plans, Diego, to restore communications and electricity? Which areas are currently the priority for the OCD in terms of that?
For communication, we have contingency plans that is worked out with Department of Information and Communication Technology, in which they are the cluster head for emergency communications. But however, our communications was all restored. So as of reporting time, we don't have reports of any areas that doesn't have communication lines or connection.
What about electricity, power?
Okay. For the other lifelines, for the power, we have of the 115 cities and municipalities that were affected, 92 have already been restored. And for the water supply, out of the two municipalities that were affected, one of which was already restored.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, Diego, but the OCD has so far already released about 2.58 million pesos in aid. How is that funding being handled and distributed, and will more resources follow?
As of reporting time, we have already the government has have already provided 50 million worth of assistance that is composed of assistance from the LGUs, the DSWD, and of course the Office of Civil Defense.
And would you say there are challenges, or what would you say is the biggest challenge that the OCD is facing in implementing these relief efforts and rescue operations?
Of course, the most challenging part for these operations is always be the logistics. Um, our country is composed of different islands, and we are always separated by bodies of water, in which is gives more challenge in providing or delivering the assistance to those who needed it. And of course, the for the rescue operations, we have always looking forward to improve our equipment and our capacity build and our capacity. So the most challenging part here is, of course, the logistics and of course the capacity, the equipment and the skills of our responders.
Well, of course, if logistics is the problem or the biggest challenge, coordination will be of utmost important, Diego, especially between the national and the local government, and especially the local disaster councils. Can you walk us through how the OCD activates and mobilizes your responders in different parts of the country?
All right. We mobilize our responders through our regional offices. Once the red alert or the blue alert was raised in our national, in the NDRIMC operation centers, this will be cascaded to our regional offices. Then, in turn, it will be cascaded to our local DRM offices and councils, in which the action and the operations will be locally handled by the local government units. As for the as for the national government, we cascade our policies, and if these local governments needed an augmentation or help from the national government, that's the time we will come in and provide those assistance needed.
But what was the response like among residents, Diego? Was there hesitation in evacuating? I mean, what is your message for those who choose to stay behind despite warnings already, red alert warnings during
Mm.
typhoons?
Yes, there will always be a resistance on evacuation, as they always says they know what they're doing, they know what is happening in their localities. As they said, they're already living for their community for so when to evacuate. However, time is changing, our climate is changing, the climate change. So you cannot just predict what will happen in your area. So we always say that when the government asks you to evacuate, we always ask for them, or we always request them to please cooperate, because there are two lives at stake here. First is the life of themselves, those we are asking to evacuate, and the second life that at stake here is the responders as well. For the time that they need to be responded, is in just in case they did not evacuate on time and they were trapped, the lives of our responders is also at stake here. So we always request our the Filipinos, or to those who are all affected, is to cooperate to the government, and if the local government is asking for you to evacuate, please evacuate accordingly.
Well, Diego, we are already in the midst of typhoon season in the Philippines. We just spoke to Pagasa, and they did say they are also monitoring a low pressure area, which could possibly intensify into a tropical storm. Are there other areas that you are closely monitoring? And can we expect the OCD to remain on high alert? Because we are, as I said, in the midst of typhoon season.
Yes. We are always closely monitor, especially this during rainy seasons. We are closely monitoring those who are places or areas that are catch basins or river, those who are river basins, especially in the around the region 3, because all the rains and water from the northern Luzon and from the mountains of Cordillera, those waters will always go down to the catch basins in region 3, especially the Pampanga river basins. You're also looking after those areas that are near the volcanoes, because once rain goes near these volcanoes, the dust, the ashes will go down as lahar. And worst case scenario, if this goes erupted as well, it will rain mud in this area. So it's another worst case scenario. But the Office of Civil Defense and the whole government is always preparing for this. Um, Yearly, at almost around 20 tropical cyclones is always visiting our country. So we can say that we are not prepared, because we are always on high alert, and we are always prepared because, as I said earlier, um, there is always a tropical cyclone here, We have a lot of hazard here. We have earthquakes, we have volcanoes. So there are no time for us to take a rest. We are always on high alert. We are always preparing.
In other words, there's no excuse to be unprepared. But thank you very much for all the updates this morning. That was OCD Deputy Spokesperson Diego Mariano. Thank you, Diego.
Thank you as well, and
Now, coming right up, we will get the Department of Energy's assessment on the aftermath of Tropical Storm Krising and ask how the agency prepares for the typhoon season. All that and more when Morning Matters returns after this short break. Good morning and welcome back. I'm Pauline Verzosa. And here at Morning Matters, we talk about the most pressing issues and give you the context behind the headlines. Newly appointed Energy Secretary Sharon Garin has vowed to continue key energy reforms while pushing for greater energy security and renewable development. Garin said the DOE will build on existing programs like the Green Energy Auction, aiming to boost clean energy and expand electrification, especially in underserved areas. She also highlighted the need to make the country's energy systems more resilient and attract more private investments into the sector. Garin assured the public and stakeholders of policy continuity, saying the DOE remains committed to sustainability, affordability, and reliable power for all Filipinos. Now, what's next for the country's energy roadmap? Let's find out straight from the source. Joining us this morning is the newly appointed Secretary of the Energy Department, Secretary Sharon Garin. Good morning, Secretary, and thank you for joining us here on Morning Matters.
Good morning.
All right, Secretary, following the onslaught of Tropical Storm Krising, can you give us the latest assessment of the Energy Department on the impact of Krising and its initial assessment on our energy infrastructure?
Good morning and thank you. So far, as of today, our report store ng electricity. But so far, those are the immediate naman yung response ng mga electric co-ops natin. So far, 20,000 ang affected. Pero isa na lang ang natitira ngayon na province na hindi pa namin ma-restore.
Secretary, what about power plants, transmission lines, and fuel supply chains all over the country? Are there any of them that were affected by creasing?
We have this committee actually under NDRMNC also na in charge yung DOE, which is the Task Force on Energy Resiliency. This is where everybody's nagko-converge, ano? So far, nandiyan na rin yung NGCP, nandiyan din yung mga PNOC natin, NAPOCOR, all those agencies. As far as the reports have been sent to us, normal naman yung operations nila. Like our fuel suppliers are okay, pati yung NGCP natin, transmission natin. Even our upstream industry, it's hindi naman siya affected. So only our distribution lang talaga yung affected sa reports natin.
Well, Secretary, can you tell us about the plans of or the contingency plans of the Department of Energy, especially during typhoon season? How do you ensure that there is stable power during and after storms?
So like automatic naman yan, like NDRMC, Philippines is one of the best in these situations because we're one of the least emissions in carbon, pero tayo yung pinaka most affected when there's a disaster, So we're always ready. And we're probably one of the best in the world in this kind of situation because we experience it all the time. We're next to Japan. I think we're among the best in the country. So we have our committee that we take charge and we respond immediately. For example, dati taon-taon, buwan-buwan pa ma-restore yung electricity sa mga disaster-hit areas. But now, in less than a month or even within 24 hours, kung kaya, then we restore it right away.
All right, well, Secretary, on other matters, it's only been a week since you took your oath as Energy Secretary. Tell us about your priorities under your leadership. What is your vision for the country's energy landscape? And how would you assess the current state of energy security here in the Philippines?
To be yung score mo to be a good Secretary of DOE has always been the price of electricity, But these things are price of electricity is a long process to make kasi the complications in the industry medyo private driven siya. So we have to make the policies and the policies take time to take effect now. But we will continue with renewable energy as one of our biggest push as mandated by or instructed by the marching orders of the President. Gusto niya mas malinis talaga yung electricity, our power source talaga. So we're pushing for the green energy auction, pang-apat na yata kami, The fourth na. So we will continue with that. In fact, this last auction, we are oversubscribed. And then we will continue with developing more power source as na indigenous sa atin because as what happened with the Israeli and Iranian conflict, we're affected that as far as supply and price is concerned. So we have plans ng time pa ng previous Secretary Popo, in which I served as his undersecretary for 3 years. The policies that we have issued are sound, and we will continue with that. We will continue to implement. So hopefully that will eventually, maybe not that soon, but eventually that will affect the price and push it down.
Yes, Secretary, I actually wanted to talk about that fourth round of the green energy auction. As you mentioned, you were oversubscribed, 142 bids qualified for that particular round. What does that indicate about the strong appetite of investors when it comes to green energy here in the Philippines?
Halimbawa yung yung total of we bid out ground-mounted solar, meaning yun yung nasa ground, nakikita niya ng mga solar farms. We also, for the first time, we have floating solar, rooftop, and iris. This is yung may combination na ng mga batteries. So, it's sobra-sobra yung interest. In fact, for ground-mounted, I think you can triple yata triple ng offer namin ang nagbid . So that means there's a lot of appetite. And there are a lot of daming companies natin na kaya magpatayo ng solar farms and may capacity financially and technically. And then marami ding foreigners na interested sa Philippines. That just means that there's so much, we have enough potential to be one of the leaders in the world in renewable energy. And that also means that the policies are in place. They're following what the president is hoping for, that we will have at least 35% of our capacity by 2030 all on renewable. So maganda yung traction niya. We have seen this in our previous auctions also. Sa pump storage natin na award natin is about almost 7,000 megawatts. Malaki yun. Biggest in the world, I think. So I think there's a good appetite. People, our investors are interested. The policies are in place, and it will happen eventually. We will meet our targets.
Well, Secretary, the ERC did release the final GEAR4 prices. For instance, it's 4.48 pesos per kilowatt hour for ground-mounted solar. It's 6.52 for floating solar. Do you think that's one of the factors also why there was a strong interest? Because these prices are relatively affordable by Philippine standards compared to our other alternatives. And do you think these rates are competitive enough to balance a strong interest from investors as well as for the consumers as well?
Well, their interest is because it's not just in the price; it's the long-term contracts that they get if they win this. So medyo may assurance sila financially. I think about, if I'm not mistaken, some are 20 years now. So the prices are competitive. It's a good price. Some might say na mababa siya. Pero there are so many parties interested. So I think ERC did a good job in price wise. So it also means that we are maturing in that market, na yung price ng yung supply chain natin, financing natin, we have those in place already, and it's not as difficult anymore for our investors to dati kasi mahal-mahal ng solar, now it can compete almost, sana someday it can almost compete with coal, which is the cheapest.
Well, Secretary, part of this mix, as you mentioned, is floating solar and energy storage, which are relatively new to the Philippine grid. Are we ready to integrate that kind of infrastructure as well as regulation in order to support it and even scale it?
May floating solar, just to explain, floating solar, you can do that halimbawa sa LLDA or sa lakes natin, even on our fish ponds, no? Or bodies of water. And it doesn't occupy, hindi niya kinakain ang agricultural natin. In fact, some say that it's beneficial if it's sa mga fish ponds. So this is a new technology for us, not in other countries. It's more complicated kasi may mga connections ka pa na aayusin dahil galing sa tubig yung and then it has to go on land. But these are new, and even ang construction nito is more complicated. Pero I think our and even the what did you mention, the battery, the storage one?
Energy storage, yes.
If your question is it ready for our grid ready? Well, they all get naman system impact study from NGCP before they embark on the project. So, gagawin yung SIS, yun yung tawag. They will check kung pwede ba makakayanan ng grid natin, and they all get naman before they start their project.
Well, Secretary, lots of terms, technology being thrown around, but as you mentioned, the question for most Filipinos is, mapapababa ba nito ang presyo ng kuryente? So what can Filipinos expect from the green energy auction? Will this lower electricity prices, improve reliability, and expand access across the country?
Yes, ma'am. It's complicated. It takes me a long time to explain kasi may complicated talaga yung electricity. But parang simple lang, no? Kung marami tayong nag-green or nagre-renewable or even put up power plants in the Philippines, we have more supply. Mas maraming supply natin. kung mas maraming supply mo sa economics lang yan, kung mas maraming supply mo kaysa sa demand mo, talagang bababa yung presyo. And I think that will happen in the Philippines because sobrang ngayong interest sa renewable dito, and also we have exploration and other power plants that are being built. New technologies are coming in. So I think eventually, not today, nor tomorrow, but in the future, the market forces, kasi puro private to, hindi namin madiktahan, hindi kami nagdidikta ng how they will charge. That's on the part of BRC. But if dumadami siya, and we have it already at a mababa na yung pagbenta nila ng power, then I think eventually, sometime soon, the market forces will react na bababa yung presyo.
Well, the government does have a target of 35% of renewable energy by 2030 and even 50% by 2040, which is quite ambitious, but why not, right, Secretary? But in the meantime, you did say on the big story that the original Malampaya gas reserve may only last until 2027 to 2030. So right now, how is the Department of Energy preparing to secure new sources? I understand that there are drilling operations being done right now at Malampaya, Secretary.
Yes, 2020, between 2027 to 2030, malapit na yan. Mga 3 years, no? Konti na lang. But in anticipation of that, nung eksakto nung umupo yung presidente, in-extend niya yung contract ng Malampaya. And then in that contract, they were told, okay, this is extended, but you have to drill because we know that it was depleting already. So right away, the president reacted to that. Something that should have been done years ago pa. Hinintay pa natin last minute, no? Pero buti na lang naagapan on this administration. So they're drilling now 3 wells. 2 wells have good prospects, meaning parang maganda yung mga tails niya. Kasi nagdi-drill na sila ngayon, yung sand na habang nagdi-drill ka, inuhukay mo yan. So they can tell from the pressure, from the rocks that they get from there, na mukhang maganda yung chances niya. And if that happens, now we have sources from those 2 wells, additional sources, then it will extend Malampaya up to 2037. So at least covered tayo doon. And then they're drilling a 3rd one, which will be a new discovery, hopefully, and we're very praying that there will be a new source there. And I think that will be additional pa. So we're, at least Malampaya is now ongoing, and within the year, we will find out if it's enough source for us.
Well, you did mention, Secretary, 2 wells you're optimistic that 2 of these wells could produce, but realistically, when can we expect these wells to produce, considering that malapit na nga yung depletion ng Malampaya?
It will, if we discover this year, then it can be part of our system na by next year. So 26. So mabilis lang. Mabilis yan kasi with the president opted to sign the extension on an all-Filipino consortium na yan ngayon. And I think they're also more concerned, rather than have foreigners and Malampaya, they're more concerned of what is the effect on our people. No? So within the year, lay down lang nila yung within the year, we find out they have to lay down the pipes, connect yan sa system natin. It will take them a few months, and then probably by end of next year, it will be connected already.
But Secretary, at the same time, the Philippines is mostly reliant on imported LNG. If I'm not mistaken, are we 80% reliant?
When it comes to gas, we're 60-40, no?
60-40, okay.
60-40 tayo. Yung mataas yung coal eh. I think what you mean is coal is about 90%
yes.
imported from Indonesia. And that's also something that we are concerned about. That's why we want to drill more, have more renewables, kasi hindi pwede na dependent tayo sa isang country. So hopefully with Malampaya or more types of Malampaya, we're hoping that more contracts will be awarded within this administration, and I think that will happen. So, and more renewables, so mas independent tayo. Hindi lang energy security, kundi energy sovereignty ang makukuha natin.
Well, Secretary, you do have 3 years left under your term as Secretary of the Energy Department. What are some of your low-hanging fruits, goals in the next 3 years?
We want one of the first things that I did was continue nga the people and then the policies within the DOE family. And then now we're reviewing yun nga, the ask of the people how to push down the prices. So that means reviewing the whole industry from distribution, transmission, generation ano ba yung mas mababa. So we're working on all that and more sources. We want more sources of energy in the Philippines. We're just continuing what was started by Secretary Lutilia before. More sources, more indigenous sources in the Philippines. So we'll work on that. We want to work on what we have started already with Secretary Lutilia and maybe add some more that might improve the energy service in the Philippines.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us this morning. That was Energy Secretary Sharon Garin. Thank you, Sec.
Thank you.
And don't go away. We still have more matters to discuss after the break. Keep it here on One News. Welcome back. You're still watching Morning Matters here on One News. President Bongbong Marcos is still reviewing the broader implications of banning all forms of online gambling. Well, that's according to his Executive Secretary, Lucas Bersamin. And for the details, let's bring in mobile journalist Julie Baiza, who joins us over the phone. Good morning, Julie. Can you tell us more about Malacanang's statement on e-gambling?
Good morning, Pauline. Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin said that they are still looking into online gambling. Ang sabi niya, they have to see all the ramifications nitong e-gambling bago makapagdesisyon. Si President Marcos naman nagbabala sa epekto ng online gambling. Sa vlog niya kahapon on digitalization, sinabi nga niya na mas madali na yung pagsusugal through digitalization. Kaya nagbabala siya kasi maraming pamilya raw yung nasisira dito, lalo na kung hindi responsable yung paggamit.
And that's important, Julie, no? Kasi marami na nga mambabatas na gustong magpasa ng batas tungkol sa pagban ng online gambling, and Malacanang has been quite quiet about it in the past few weeks, but this is their statement now. But on a different note, Julie, parang may sinabi rin yung Malacanang sa alleged arrest warrant from the ICC kay Senator Bato. Meron nga ba talagang arrest warrant o wala?
Pauline, kinlarify na Executive Secretary Bersamin na walang nilalabas na warrant of arrest ang International Criminal Court against Senator Ronald Bato de la Rosa at aliwas yan dun sa naunang napaulat na nasabi nga raw ni ES na meron Pero sakali man daw na merong i-issue yung ICC na arrest warrant at paladaan yan sa Interpol, posibleng gawin din daw ng pamahalaan yung naging proseso ng pag-aresto kay former President Duterte kasi bahagi pa rin naman daw tayo ng Interpol at tutulong tayo sakaling humingi nga sila ng tulong. Same approach daw yung gagawin, nothing discriminatory. Sabi nga ni ES, hindi daw kasi politically motivated yung magiging move nila.
Pero Julie, asan ba galing yung ugong-ugong na may arrest warrant nga daw galing sa ICC? And why did the ES Bersamin feel the need to respond to that?
Kasi ang sabi ni ES, may nag-interview sa kanya na isang FOCAP, other news agency na nasabi nga ang parang misquoted kumbaga yung wala naman daw siyang sinabi na merong arrest warrant pero magkaiba sila ng pagkakaintindi. Yung sinasabi nga lang daw niya is aarestuhin kung meron.
Okay. Well, on
That's
a different map.
Kinlarify niya.
And Julie, President Bongbong Marcos is already in the United States. This is his 5th trip to the U.S. Tell us about his agenda. What specific matters will be discussed during his trip there?
2:48 a.m. Philippine time dumating si PBBM sa Washington kasama ang Philippine delegation. Sa pre-departure speech niya kahapon, sinabi niya na top priority sa meeting kay US President Donald Trump yung negosasyon para sa bilateral trade deal. Kasunod nga yan ng pagpapataw ng 20% tariff sa Philippine exports. Mahalaga rin daw yung pulong nila for national interest at pagpapalakas ng alliance ng dalawang bansa. Aside from Trump kasi, he will be meeting U.S. Defense Chief Pete Hegseth, U.S. State Department Secretary Marcos Rubio, and magkakaroon din ng roundtable discussions with the business sector. Again, yung President is hoping na makapag-uuwi ng investments from these U.S. companies.
And Julie, for this trip, mukhang hindi na nga sasama si First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos. Will that change the protocol of the President in any way dyan sa kanyang biyahe sa United States?
Pauline, si First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos ay galing or nasa working trip sa Riyadh, So, since magkasalubong yung naging schedule nila, pauwi or uuwi ngayong 21 kasi yung schedule na pag-uwi ni FL. So, hindi nga siya nakasama. Pero in terms of protocol naman, business as usual pa rin naman yung naging latag ng events ni PBBM doon sa US.
And this is significant because this is also the first time that President Marcos will be meeting U.S. President Donald Trump. But ang tanong, Julie, this also comes ahead of President Marcos's State of the Nation address on Monday, July 28. So, paano ba siya naghahanda para sa kanyang SONA?
Sabi ni ES, personally, very involved daw si BBM with his fourth State of the Nation address. Sinabi na rin niya ni Yusek Claire Castro before na personally talagang si BBM yung naghahanda at pinag-aaralan kung ano yung magiging laman ng SONA niya. Ang sabi ni ES, asahan daw na i-report naman ni BBM kung ano yung nagagawa ng administrasyon. Pero knowing the President, as per him, minsan daw talagang nakafocus or tumututok yan sa isang bagay. So alamin natin kung ano yung magiging naka-main topic ng kanyang SONA ngayon. And ito namang US date, natanong na rin kung makakasama ba ito sa SONA niya. Kung meron daw worth reporting dito sa visit ng Pangulo, asahan daw na maririnig yan.
All right, thank you very much for that report. That was mobile journalist Julie Baiza. Meanwhile, only 6 senators have yet to sign a resolution supporting Senator Francis Escudero as Senate President, according to Senate President Pro Tempore Jinggoy Estrada. Meanwhile, Senator Lito Lapid reportedly backs Escudero. It's unclear if he has formally signed. Senators who haven't expressed support include Vicente Soto III, Panfilo Lacson, Juan Miguel Zubiri, Loren Legarda, Risa Ontiveros, and Amy Marcos. Marcos is the only Duterte bloc member still undecided, despite the group's earlier agreement to back Escudero. Estrada said he is in talks with Marcos, who is requesting committee changes. Soto's bloc reportedly offered her the Finance Committee chair to win her over. Senator Sherwin Gatchalian is also likely to head the Finance Committee, though Estrada noted it's a demanding role. At this point, let's get an update on the latest in the Senate. We have mobile journalist Merimon Reyes. Good morning, Merimon. Ano na ba ang mga development dyan sa Senado?
Good morning, Paulina. Kung mapapadayo ka o maglilibot ka dito sa Senado, bukod sa pagpasok mo sa main entrance, makikita mo yung pinto papunta sa session hall, madadaanan mo rin itong hallway kung saan mayroong mural na pinapakita yung imahe ng mga senador at senadora sa ilalim ng 19th Congress. Pero dahil magbubukas na ang 20th Congress, 1 week from now, magkakaroon ng unveiling naman ng legacy wall around 10 a.m. mamaya kasama si Senate President Cheese Escudero. Dito makikita na natin yung mukha ng mga tatayong senador at senadora sa ilalim ng 20th Congress. At mamaya rin naabangan natin kung may maibibigay ba sa ating impormasyon si SP sa kanilang paghahanda 1 week from the State of the Nation address ni Pangulong Marcos. Pero ang alam natin sa ngayon, si Senator Bato de la Rosa, baka hindi siya pumunta sa araw ng SONA. Personal choice nito, ayaw niya raw makipagplastikan sa ilang mga kongresista at may nasabi pa nga raw siya, meron din daw ibang mga tao sa Malacanang na medyo hindi niya magugustuhan na makita o makasama nga sa araw ng SONA. Pero for the other senators naman, asahan natin yung kanilang attendance. At yung ilan sa inaasahan nila sa SONA, sana nga raw mapag-usapan ng online gambling. Kasama na rin dito ang nasabi naman ni Senator J.V. Ejercito para raw magkaroon pa ng mas maraming direct foreign investors, sana rin daw matalakay ang energy and infrastructure. Pauline.
Marybon, on the sidelines, napapag-usapan pa rin ba ang impeachment, pati na rin ang Senate presidency at mga committee chairmanships? For the
Tama yan,
20th
Pauline,
Congress.
magkakaroon kasi ng botohan sa Senate, sa liderato. Pero sa nakikita nga natin, nasa majority na talaga yung pumirma sa resolusyon at nagpapakita ng kanilang suporta para kay SP para mapanatili bilang Senate President. Pero pagdating dito sa impeachment, asahan natin na si Senator Bato de la Rosa mag-move na ng kanyang motion na magkaroon nga raw ng paglilinaw sa jurisdiction ng Senado ng 20th Congress kung nais ba nilang ipagpatuloy o maging binded sa actions ng 19th Congress. At nilinaw niya, gagawin niya raw ito, i-raise niya raw ito sa Senado at hindi sa Senado bilang impeachment court. By July 28, since ceremonial opening to, by July 29, doon sa kanilang regular sessions, doon natin makikita kung mapapaaga ba yung pagre-reconvene nila bilang impeachment court o tulad ng nabanggit na nila Senator Joel Villanueva, baka 1 week after the SONA magkakaroon na ng reconvening. So that's around August 4. Pero nasabi ni impeachment court spokesperson Attorney Reggie Tunggol, possible din na merong magre-raise naman ng motion na mas mapaaga yung reconvening at yung oath-taking ng mga incoming senators bilang senator judges. So marami-rami ang mangyayari 1 week from now, Pauline.
Aabangan natin yan. But for now, thank you very much. That was mobile journalist Merimon Reyes. Now, shifting gears to sports, a majority draw. That's how the much-anticipated comeback fight of Manny Pacquiao against Mario Barrios ended. One judge scored the bout 115-113 for Barrios, but two others had it 114-114. That resulted in a draw that lets the American retain the WBC welterweight title. Despite the rainy weather, hundreds of fans flocked to watch parties, all hoping Pacquiao could once again make history at 46 years old. Many of them were left disappointed by the result, including veteran boxing analyst Ed Tolentino.
I thought Manny Pacquiao won that fight. He deserved that WBC belt. I thought yung majority draw decision na yon ay masyadong mali. Mario Barrios showed him so much respect. Medyo hesitant. Kulang na lang magmano itong si Barrios kay Manny Pacquiao. Hesitant siya. Nandun yung left jab pero ayaw niyang i-follow through with the right hand.
Well, that was still a good fight. And that wraps up today's episode of Morning Matters. We hope we've given you just the right start to your morning. Let's make this day matter. I'm Pauline Verzosa, sitting in for Gretchen Ho. We are One News, all sides, all the time.